Right, one of many stories bubbling away in English cricket at the moment is the mooted banning of Australian players in county cricket, if that is even possible, before the 2027 Ashes in England. We're joined by Sussex head coach Paul Farbrace to discuss this. Sussex have been one of many counties who've welcomed Australian cricketers with open arms. And Harvey and I thought, Fabi, that you might have quite strong opinions on this. It is interesting, isn't it? Ben Stokes said he can't understand why so many Australians are welcomed into county cricket. Steve Smith has said that it's definitely a reason why Ashes series in England are more competitive. Um, and I guess there are probably quite a lot of people who understand. I mean, Australians don't have Englishmen playing Shield cricket, do they? So clarify for us.
Well, look, I do have strong opinions. When I read it, I laughed out loud. I checked the date to make sure it wasn't the 1st of April. I absolutely love Ben to bits as a cricketer, as a bloke, and of course I respect his views. He's captain of England. He wants England to do well in the next Test series in England in, where are we, in 2 years' time. But ultimately, next year, ultimately, English cricket has been the hotbed of overseas players from all over the world use English cricket as a finishing school. They all come, they learn. Doesn't matter what country they're from. Our supporters get to see the best players. And we signed Steve Smith. My first year here, we signed Steve Smith to play 3 games. Now, we played at Hove 1 game, we played at Worcester, and we played at Leicester. Now, none of those three, with respect, are Test match grounds. But Steve Smith averaged 60 on the last time he was here in England before that series. So it's not as if he doesn't know English cricket. He first came and played when he was 17. He played for Kent's second team for me. So he knows English cricket inside out and back to front. We want the best players playing in county cricket. One of the reasons I wanted Steve to play for Sussex, it was a statement signing for me and the club to say, we're no longer going to be sitting at the bottom of Division 2, just making the numbers up. We're going to compete. I also wanted the likes of Tom Haynes, James Coles, who are both players I expect to play international cricket, and plus others to be around top quality players. So, there's so many advantages. But the other part of it is that I think the county that Stokesy plays for as an Australian coach and an Australian director of cricket. So I'm not quite sure that he's in the best place to be telling other counties what they can and can't do. And they're two brilliant blokes. Ryan Campbell, is an absolutely fantastic bloke who's done a brilliant job as coach up there. You've got Darren Lehman at Northant saying no one from the ECB contacted me and said, what about the pitches? What about the players? There's so much info, there's so much knowledge to be gained. No one within the England team setup contacts county cricket anymore. None of them speak to us and say, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Our medical team has dialogue over Jofra, but there's no conversations with the coaches. Rob Key, Luke Wright, to be fair to them, absolutely brilliant. We know we can speak to them anytime about anything, but Brendan's not interested in county cricket. He's shown that, he's proved that. And that's fine. I've got no problem with that. But please don't be telling us who we can and can't play in county cricket. You focus on your job and we're worried about our jobs.
Yeah, I mean, Fabi, my opinion is all, and I totally agree. But I also look at it, and I've said this a few times to Manners. When a player has to do the media, like you've worked in international cricket,
Yeah.
every single day for 25 minutes, they will end up saying something that they probably either don't mean, or it goes down an avenue and makes a headline. So it'll be interesting to Ben to put, I think, more meat on the bones and clarity towards what he said. And you're right, I'm Durham. I look at Marcus and I look at Ryan, and they've done brilliant jobs.
Yeah.
Even the chief executive, Tim Bostock, I know he's from England, but he spent the last 25 years of his working life in Australia. Yeah. And my experiences with this, I came into this great game as a wayward 18-year-old, 17, 18-year-old. David Boone was my captain. Yeah. I mean, one of the greatest players that's played for Australia, the examples he set off. Further down the line, I look at the way Mike Hussey transformed the mentality of young players for Durham.
Yeah.
and went on to that from 2005 when he came and further on and away.
Yeah.
You've seen Mark Stoneman work, and you look at Mark Stoneman. I mean, Mark Stoneman, if it wasn't for Michael Di Benito,
Absolutely.
Mark Stoneman as a young 18, 19-year-old coming into the, he even wore wristbands like Michael Di Benito. He walked like him. So this is what the Australians bring. And it's not anything sort of over the top and different. They bring hard work, they bring clarity of thought. They're good cricketers. But what frustrates me though, Farby, is you mentioned it there. Are we at a point where we have to have a conversation between the county game? Now we've got this 500 million that's come into the game, and I know it isn't going to get it, but this county game has to work now with the England cricket team. There has to be something. And if it doesn't, at this main time, it doesn't, because the way it's perceived to be. But it needs to work hand in hand, because we can't stop Australians and then don't let our players play cricket as well. So where's the balance? What needs to change? Because I think it's a little bit of give and take on both sides.
Definitely. The constitution of county cricket and the ECB needs to change, Harmy and Neil. That's the first thing. Because, you can look at every time we lose an Ashes away from home, there's been loads of reports, the Schofield report, there's been all sorts of reports, right? You think back a couple of years ago when Straussy tried to get his reform paper through. And I've said this so many times, in county cricket, there's never been a better time to put together now a competition that works for the good of English cricket. There's never been a better time. All the money that's coming to the game, there's never been a better time. Because ultimately, 14 of the 18 counties have voted that the chairman are voted in by the members. The members want more county cricket. I know they do here at Sussex, right? So we've got a balance, myself and the chairman, when we do forums with them, we want to play county cricket, but we can't play in August. So we're playing in April and May and September, late August and September. So we're bookending the season. The middle of the season, when we want to be developing best players on the best pitches, we're playing a lot of white ball cricket. And white ball cricket is what the chief execs want, because we only make money 7 days of the year. There are 7 home T20 games. Every time we open the gates, we lose money. And all the smaller counties, non-test match grounds, are doing exactly that. So you then got your county directors of cricket and head coaches who want less cricket, more practice time, more preparation time to put the best players out. So, and we've had this discussion before. So Rob Key and Brendan McCullum are saying county cricket is played on green, damp wickets that nip all over the place. Counties are producing wickets that are not at the best level. They're trying to win games, which, again, no problem with that, because we've become so isolated. It's about county coaches keeping their jobs and county coaches winning games for their members, not worrying about the England team. The England team are not worried about county cricket. They've shown that, they proved that. And I've got no problem with that, because we all know where we stand. I've got no issues. And that's something that I've said to Keezy a couple of times. But you've got this gap in English cricket where the counties, the ECB, we're not all working together for one thing. We're genuinely not. So it's no surprise that we've gone to Australia. We haven't got a high quality spinner. No offence to Shoaib Bashir. He's played a little bit of county cricket, but they obviously didn't trust him to play in Australia. So he hasn't played, he hasn't bowled a ball in Australia. We've got, some exciting young talent, Bryden Cast, Josh Tongue, we've got some really exciting young cricketers in our country. Jacob Bethel has just shown that, but Jacob hardly played a county game for Warwickshire this year. England kept him away from county cricket. No problem with that. That's absolutely fine. But if we're going to be successful over the long term, English cricket has got to come together. We've got to have a schedule that works for everybody. We've got to be playing on the best pitches we can possibly be playing on. And I know Keezy will say, well, I was one of the directors of cricket that voted out the Kookaburra ball. Yet we did, because we felt that the pitches haven't got enough pace not to play with the Kookaburra ball. We play on pitches with 14 mils of grass that nip all over the place, and we're trying to get results, and no problem with that. We all know where that stands, but that isn't necessarily going to lead to us producing high quality cricketers to play for England in the long term. And all the time the county game can't agree. and we can't agree on what's the best schedule, how on earth are we going to put together something that allows whoever's in Keys' position and Brendan's position to pick the very best players? It's no wonder they're not picking them based on their stats in county cricket. They're picking them on potential, and they're picking them on character, and sticking them straight into the Test match team and learning international level.
I mean, yeah, and I mean, just to go on a little bit more on that, I get frustrated, and I am, and people might be listening to you and saying, well, again, look, former players blaming county cricket again because they've lost the Ashes. I am not blaming county cricket.
No.
I never have done.
No.
I am one of the biggest advocates for county cricket. I want it to be redefined in such a way which it makes it work. There's a pathway through county cricket into the England team, because at this minute in time, I mean, if we are just playing county cricket to keep people who are men and women who are 40, 50, 60, 70, who've got nothing better to do Monday to Friday, than county membership, and just want that. If that's what's stopping English cricket going forward, then we might as well all go home now. We might as well go around in a circle. How frustrating is that from a cricket and from a cricket lover's point of view, that this is not happening, especially with the money that's coming in again?
It's hugely frustrating for the players that are playing county cricket, because they know whatever they do in county cricket, they're not going to get selected. You know, you look at Dom Sibley, he's a great example. You know, Sibley's went into the Test team, and, you know, he admittedly found it quite tough. He came back, he remodeled his game, he's played brilliantly for Surrey. He's scored loads of runs, but he knows that the way that England are looking to play, he's got no chance of getting back in the team. And no disrespect, he sees Zach Crawley averaging 30. And, you know, we hear Brendan saying, well, I don't want him to be consistent. I just want to be a match winner. Well, what message does that send to county players? You know, they're looking at that saying, well, what's the point? You know, Joe Clark could be looking saying, what's the point of me scoring 1,400 runs every year for Notts? I've got no chance of being picked for England. You know, and that Alex Lees is another one at Durham. You know, there's so many players that you look at and you think, you know, but again, I don't blame Rob Key and Brendan McCullum, because they're saying the pitches are not good enough to play county cricket, to judge whether they can play international cricket. We're going on a hunch. This is where we're picking. We all know how they pick. I've got absolutely no problem with that. And as a result, the gap between county cricket and international cricket has never been wider. And as I say, players get frustrated, members and supporters get frustrated, but the membership of county clubs should not be dictating the schedule that the ECB put out. But as I say, there's a lot of chairmen that are worried that if they go against their members call, you know, SGMs, and they lose their role as a chairman. But so, you know, there's too many people with parochial views around county cricket. This Ashes is probably the first one for many years where we can't blame county cricket, because we've not been picking the players from county cricket. You know, Duncan Fletcher, as you know, when you played, he wanted fast bowlers who all had to bowl 85 miles an hour. Anyone under 85 miles an hour, he had no interest in, right? And we had a group of you who could do that and were absolutely brilliant, and you won the Ashes. And that's where, you know, I just think the whole game, and I'm not pointing fingers, because I'm as responsible as anyone. I'm in a key stakeholder position where I can affect the England team in county cricket. I'm very fortunate. And, you know, I want everyone to come together. I went through the process this summer, as a lot of clubs did. And I sat in meetings, and, you know, I sat around a table in Southampton where there were 5 counties, and each county wanted something different. It was no surprise at the end of it that we came to the conclusion that we couldn't come up with a structure. But you're sitting around a table trying to develop a business model where, again, no disrespect, but you've got a corner shop and Harrods sitting at the same table. You know, us and Surrey sat at the same table with business models miles apart. They want one thing, we want another. You know, they want T20 cricket midweek for their people coming out of London to watch them and fill the Oval with 20,000 people. We want to play Fridays and Sundays when we can get the family audience in to watch T20 cricket and make our money that way. So everybody wants something different from the game. So how can we expect to have the pinnacle of our English game competing against the best nations around the world in India and Australia when we can't even get our domestic structure right?